Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? And I've just been trying to get this drone to be fully charged, and I think it has finally hit that moment. So I should be able to switch that back to auto, and then we should be able to actually control this. So first up, we want to just toggle that off. And that is the wrong one, but it's fine. Because I should... yeah, there we go, or drone. We should now actually be able to control this, and it should have a decently long amount of time to run. So let's just get you off there. What we got there, about 2 hours or so? Yeah, that should be good, grand. And what we're going to be looking for today is an ore deposit that is iron and closer than 5.6 kilometers. Because, it is not very helpful to us to actually have one that far away. Now, we can get there with the rover, but it is such a slog, to say the least, and we really, really need something a lot closer than that. So we're gonna be just sort of flying around, trying to find a ping that looks like iron. And I gotta say, I'm not dreadfully confident on this, but we're gonna do it. Because it is vitally important that we know the closest vein that we can find. I need to keep this thing relatively steady. Because the closer the ore deposit that we can find, then the less amount of trouble we have actually setting up to mine it. I just gotta be real careful, because this is not the easiest thing to control. A lot of its control is actually meant to be on the vertical rather than the horizontal. Not really set up for mining, for flying in, like, 2D space, as it were. Oh boy. So far, all we're seeing around here is ice. Not really anything meaningfully useful, unfortunately. And by this point, we should have spotted something. Let's... whoop, 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 back, careful. Okay. Let's just have a look at the ore detector. It is at max range, so if we're below 50 meters... on our little reticule in the middle there, we should be seeing it. Yeah, at this altitude, we should be seeing stuff, if it's actually close enough for us to even remotely know about without just digging blind. I guess we'll just continue in the vague direction and try to keep to 15 or higher meters off the ground, and below, let's say below 30. But also, it's worth noting that the weight of the rover is, well, it's not like laden with anything, is about 11 tons, and this thing currently is 14 and some change, thereabouts. Which should really tell you why this thing handles like a brick. But okay, so far still... whoa, we found gold. We found a note on gold there, hang on. Pull it back. Let's see what we find. Yeah, we found some gold. Yeah. Switch to lower camera. Let's mark this if we can. That doesn't look like the coordinates of where I am sitting, so I think that should be good. Yeah, good, grand. I was worried I hadn't tapped that in properly when I built this thing. Okay, well, there's some good news. We found gold. I don't currently have a use for gold, but I guess if we need to start putting together some kind of, like, economic systems, then... yeah, and it's good for electronics, actually, so there's that. So we didn't spot gold when we were coming out here before, so let's see if anything else pings up. No, it doesn't look like it. So far, anyways. So yeah, I think... oh boy. Level out. Good. My trouble is, if I just try to navigate this thing using the lower camera, I would have no idea I was about to run into a mountainside. I should really just keep this thing level and just use that. Okay. I need to not tilt this thing. That's probably, like, very much not in my thing. Ver. Well, the good news is that's going to be running for another 8 hours. The bad news is I now have to go and collect the drone. Or repair it in situ. That's also a possibility. I don't really know which will work. Well, we found gold. That's new. It's not currently useful, but it's new. Okay, well, good thing we can see the ore drone from here. Yeah, look in the bottom there. 11.5 tons on the ore drone. On the ore drone on the Recon rover. Okay, so we just gotta head through the antenna of the ore drone over there at 2.9 kilometers and hope that it's okay. Now, I have stockpiled a little bit of iron. I went over to the iron deposit itself with the rover and stocked that up to the gills, by which point it weighed about 34 tons heavier with iron ore, and that has processed quite happily, and hopefully we shouldn't have too much trouble with that. Whoa, careful, going over this. Don't want to scrap two vehicles. Oh, and just as long as we're out here, I should turn on the rover's ore detector. Because who knows, we might actually skip over something. These exposed rocks are an utter nightmare to drive over. Easy now. There we go. Okay. Not sure we need the light, but it's handy. As is the screen in my top middle there, which is displaying attitude. And I don't mean like Power Rangers Teenagers with Attitude, I mean like pitch your roll. Well, mostly pitch and roll, it has to be said. Now, I'm pretty sure the ore drone isn't something I can really just pick up. Because it's, as I said, heavier than this entire vehicle, this entire truck. But you never know. Theoretically, driving around in the rover is like the safest, most reliable way to actually detect auras, but it also very much is the slowest. So we pretty much just gotta deal one way or the other, I guess. But once we actually find out where the auras that we need are, we need to actually dig them up and either process them on site, which would require shoving a whole ton of materials over there, just like, for instance, set up a refinery, an assembler, ideally to turn the materials that we get from that particular site into useful stuff. Or we have to, more likely, ship it, which means we need to actually shove it into some kind of storage device like the rover, and ship it back to our currently existing mining facility, which we can just turn into a big refinery, essentially. Neither of these are necessarily easy, and we are probably going to want to use drones for at least, like, shipping in that case. Because since I'm evidently going to be the only person around for a very long while, I need to absolutely 100% optimize and maximize the efficient use of my manpower. Or my me power, I guess, as the case may be. Silver. How am I seeing that silver? It was like 90 meters away from me, so that's gotta be coming from the drone, I guess. I know I saw silver. Where are you? Okay, there you are. Let's just actually add you to our markings. There. Is that a silver we already know about? No, it is not. Okay, silver 2. Okay. Carrying on, rescuing the drone. More silver, unsurprisingly. A little bit more silver. Quite a bit of silver, actually. Just a pity I don't actually have much need for silver. What we have need of is iron, in order to make steel. That we need in relative abundance. Okay, coming up on the drone. Looks like it landed pretty much flat, which is good for us. The only question then is, what parts of it exploded? Oh. That is a bit of a crater you left there. Did you lose any thrusters? No, you don't seem to have lost any thrusters, but you have lost your downward camera. Okay, your upward camera is fine. Looks like one of the batteries is dead. Now let's fix up what I can in the field. Now looks like the merge block needs fixing as well. We actually might be able to send this just back on its own, under its own power. Looks to be... yeah, it's got enough power, I want to say. I'm not even actually terribly certain what it hit. We must have just grazed the ground. So yeah, I think we can actually send this home. Do you want to grab that, though? Okay, right. Well, let's do the interesting thing and send it home, and hope to heck it doesn't destroy itself. It'll land, it won't be able to merge, but hopefully that's okay. Okay, or drone. Yeah, merge block incomplete, battery incomplete, those are the major problems for it. But, if we set these landing positions, it will go back, it will turn off its thrusters, and it will attempt to activate a merge block that doesn't exist, but nonetheless. And it's got 8 hours of power, currently, with nothing active, which shouldn't be a concern for it. So, one-way directions. Thrusters on. And this is just where I see this thing crash into something I really, really care about, so let's just follow it for the most part. Bearing in mind, the rover does have a pretty severe speed limit, partially to make it not ram into things horrifically when it's actually... oh yeah, that is going. There's no way I'm catching up with that, actually. Distance to it is just increasing. Okay, so let's just park up for a second here. We should be able to get radio signal to that. And we do still have at least one camera. Let's just give this a watch, shall we? Now, unfortunately, because I'm not actively controlling it right now, I don't know how much power it has. I'm going to presume that it has enough to make it back. We'll find out, I guess, if it drops from the sky in a hot second. But thanks to figuring out the projector technology, we can in fact just, like, happily like, reconstruct things, should we need to. Now this trip is composed of 2 coordinates, one of which is directly, very significantly above our chalet, and the other is actually at the merge block. And that is so that the drone will fly very high in the sky to avoid colliding A with terrain and B with anybody else. And I think... Yep, there it goes. It's coming back down. And... it has landed. It's not doing dreadfully much else, but it should be okay. And we'll have to deal with that another time, I guess. But hey, it came pretty far before it was plowed into, like, the floor by me, but evidently. So we are looking for some iron around here. And we have about, like, best case, like, a few hours of power in the rover, so hey, we might as well. Plus these seats are heated, so, you know, it's nice. It's kind of important to have heated seats in a vehicle that's driving around the Arctic. It's not really a luxury at that point. It's a matter of, if you leave your car overnight and you come back, will your seat be coated in a layer of ice? And yeah, I'm not seeing very much out here. Just keep an eye, I guess. But anyways, I will complete this sweep, and I will get back to you guys. Well, folks, I am less than 500 meters now from our first iron deposit, and we've actually found a fair bit of stuff, or the snow started coming in anyways, and that includes some, like, magnesium, like a lot of magnesium. Actually, I'm surprised that portion of the hillside hasn't exploded right now. A bunch of silicon, some nickel, haven't found any more gold, but do you know what I haven't found at any point for the last 5 kilometers? If you guessed iron, you were correct. So, yeah, that's just glorious. That's just wonderful, that is. So, consequently, we absolutely have to use the one over here that is 5 kilometers away from our base. And I'm just gonna turn on my ore detector, because Lord knows, odd, like, laws of chance love to show me up. Not that it would matter 300 meters from this deposit anyways. So we definitely are going to need to build a mining station of some description out here, and whether or not we end up building a refinery out here as well, we're also going to need to transport the materials that we get from this iron deposit all the way back as well. And whether that ends up being by virtue of me coming over in the rover, or just having a drone carry it 5 kilometers. Oh lord. It's going to be a big drone at that point. Oh dear. I don't know. But either way, we definitely do need to put some kind of mine here, because I have dug out a decent chunk of this right now, but there is a lot more still to go. And it is so much more efficient to get, like, an actual, like, deposit of iron, rather than trying to wring it out of just regular old stone. So we... I don't want to do this. I really don't want to. I'm not going to enjoy this, I'm sure. Because pretty much I just have to set up another drill. And I would prefer to be doing that less than 5 kilometers away from the chalet, so that I don't have to go back and forth each time to get a whole bunch of stuff, and it takes an age to drive out here as well. Like, I love this rover, it is a beautiful, wonderful, like, workhorse, but it is slow. I probably would do better just having, like, the drone carry me. But the drone, of course, does not have, like, any fittings for being, like, a manned operation. Nor do I necessarily trust the drone, I gotta say. Its performance today has not been great. But in its defense, it was designed, like, in much, much warmer climates than it currently finds itself. Now, a third, like, another option, I guess, here, I don't know if it's necessarily the third one at this point, that we have, is that the ore detector on the rover is very small. The ore detector on the chalet, and, well, the ore detector on the refinery at this point, I guess, is significantly more powerful. There's a step in between that, because the one on the mining, like, the one on the mining slash refinery is a station grade, and the one on the rover is small grid, namely, like, small vehicles, like cars, that kind of thing. And if we built a midways point, a large grid vehicle, with an ore detector on it, it would have a much bigger range, and that would allow us to detect iron that was deeper underground, because right now, if we are lucky, we detect something at about 100 meters. Maybe like, just, like, 90, 80, that kind of, like, very, very, relatively shallow speaking. So, if we could actually get that, then we'd have a greater chance of identifying any iron that might be nearer to the chalet than the 5 kilometers away that we have right there. Now, the downside to that is that the bigger the grid, from small to station, the more resources that are necessary, because just sheer size, sheer capacity, sheer, like, requirements and necessities, that kind of thing. Like, the life support of it alone is, like, huge. And we already have a power problem, because the power at the chalet is sufficient to keep things on charge for the most part, but it doesn't charge things very quickly. It took hours to fully charge that drone, and the drone even then only had, like, a few hours at best of power. So, yeah, we need to fix power. That might require making some kind of big station, I don't know, or just adding more, like, wind farms to it. Like, solar panels are not going to be doing much with this cloud that's rolled in. And I don't particularly fancy being outside with this. It's going to be freezing. But as long as I'm in this cockpit, I'm warm. So, yeah. I think the first step is to just build a very basic miner, a very basic drill, at the iron deposit, and have that dig us up a whole ton of iron ore, which I will then have to ferry back and process at the refinery. We can maybe add on a few, like, auxiliary upgrades to the refinery that we have, or overhaul the refinery there entirely quite significantly, to make it more efficient and get more out of the iron ore that we can bring it. That'd be nice. Save me a trip or two. And then we need to load up the rover with all the materials to build a new to build a full, like, new mining station. Maybe even, like, an actual automated drone that can just come back and forth on a timer. And then we need to set that running. But, oh boy. Just so many things. We've got so many, like, markers now in my GPS over here. And not one of them is iron. Not one. Oy. Could you believe my luck? But I suppose that was gonna happen eventually. Anyways. So, I'm gonna buckle in for the night, because if this is the storm that Nin mentioned, like, if this isn't just some, like, light snow, then I do not want to be outside at all. Yep, there's the gold deposit. We haven't had to weather a full-blown snowstorm in ever, actually. I don't know 100% if my if my construction is gonna hold up to it. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what it's like living in the West Antarctic when there's a big snowstorm, a blizzard, as you would call it, I guess. But gonna call this log there because I got a lot of thinking to do and not a lot of space to do it. So I will catch you all in the next log. This video is brought to you through the support of my patrons, whose souls are bound to my will in a mutually beneficial pact from which my influence over mortal affairs grows stronger by the day. To forge your own Faustian bargain in exchange for cool rewards and bonus content, look within your browser at patreon.com/lying.